My guest is the famous human rights lawyer and activist, really, Francis Xavier. So good morning to you.
Good morning.
You look good.
Thank you.
Is it because, you know, now you're on your way to Parliament? Not as if you have not looked good in the past.
Not really. I mean, it's a very beautiful morning. I mean, I feel really excited talking about children this morning. And incidentally, right from here, I'm going to the juvenile court.
You have a case?
To be defending two minors, 1718, who have wrongfully been alleged to have defiled somebody. And these are victims.
What, they were 11 and 8?
No, 7 and 8.
7 and 8. And they've defiled somebody.
Alleged.
Younger than them?
Yes.
Or?
And when even everything, all the evidence available really shows that what we can see is not something by a child, you know. I mean, but you can see that they are just being framed up. And these are, you know, victims of their domestic circumstances. You know, some of these kids are abandoned kids who don't have anyone, you know, caring for them and all that. And, you know, these are people from my constituency. It's just one of the many things I want to do.
The Medina
constituency.
Okay.
You know, so, I mean, these things happen every now and then, except that.
So we take these young ones to court?
Yes.
So they would physically go there?
Yeah, under the Juvenile Justice Act, when a juvenile is to have committed an offense, he goes through the same process, you know, that we take the older offenders through. And then if they are found to be guilty, they are often sent to the Boster homes. And then
I think you can spend a maximum of 3 years or so there.
Yeah, and there are many people there who have spent, in fact, more than 3 years on remand, because I've been doing some work there too, with kids who have been kept there and forgotten. Sure, we should do one locked and forgotten for these kids.
Yeah, we should.
One of these days, I mean, at least your station is known for doing things like that. You
definitely,
know?
we will. We will.
So,
you know, this particular case, how far in the process are you? Are you almost getting to the end of it?
Yeah, we are taking the, today I'll be doing cross-examination of an evidence that was given at the last urgent date.
Okay.
Where the person who is even giving the evidence clearly says that when he observed the little child, he could see that she has been defiled by an elderly person, you know, because it wasn't something by a child. You know, and these kids have been charged with indecent assault, meaning that not that they actually had, you know, carnal knowledge of the child, but they allegedly had some forcible sexual contact, which really is not the case, you know. But it tells you what can happen, you know, when it's about kids and when they do not have the best care, they do not have the best protection as has been guaranteed by the Children's Act and by the rules, our human rights provisions. You know, what can happen to these kids.
Is child molestation on the increase, would you say?
Child molestation is really on the increase. It is on the increase. Unfortunately, I cannot give any statistical backing to what I'm saying, but just from observation, you can see that children really are in great danger in this country. And I say that because you know, many people who have followed my story know that I was once a victim of streetism. I was a street child. I grew from the street. I used to sleep in the marketplace. I used to beg for food, you know, on the street. And it's surprising that many years down the line, I still go around and I drive sometimes through, you know, very major streets like Airport, and you see kids still on the street begging, and sometimes it's very, very disheartening. You know, you would think that over the years, you know, our child protection policies, our Children's Act, the enforcement of the laws with regards to protection, you know, of children would have actually brought about some significant improvement. But sadly, I mean, I don't see that.
Yeah.
When you walk around, you don't see that.
Sure.
Yeah.
There are some videos I want to share with you. I want us to watch. We'll come back.
Yeah.
Beun so mu di janen na maso de mo. Enti mo be si jana ko ta mo den bedu. E jan wa ye ne sen. Ne de. No abunye nya ketwa. Ntunyanya na odi aye kese. Na esisiwa ya won kan kire na. Esisiwa na woka umwa. Sorry. Na wo papa nim ne ekoso. Onim. Wo papa nim ne ekoso. Enti yede mo ba no wo papa onim ho twe. That's why. Yeah, first. With the uncle. Yeah, there. Sim, okay. And your friend saying, na unya no ka say, mo fian come say. Go for the end say. Barnabas. No, no, say Alex. Well, now yet the mobile, no, now papa on him say, Hannah, yet the mobile. One country. And now go school. Go school and come. I don't know one country, papa, some of the mobile. No fee. And the other mobile is on the airport on Watiana. I didn't know on tea. I'm tea. And the time men I am Modijan as well. I didn't know I'm on for the answer.
All right, so this sad situation, these two young people that you saw in this video, which was sent to us by someone, these two are alleged to have witchcrafts, and as part of the purification process, they are made to carry fire, as in burning fire on their heads. These two young ones that we've seen in this video. And these are some of the things that we're talking about. I mean, where's their rights?
I mean, this is completely unbelievable. I mean, it's so strange. I'm just so sad because you know, when you go to Article 15 of the Constitution, it talks about the fact that the dignity of a person shall be inviolable, and that provision is enshrined in the Children's Act as well. You know that we don't need to do anything or subject children to torture or any form of dehumanizing treatment. Obviously, what you see in this, video is very dehumanizing. I mean, it's a complete violation of these kids, and I wonder even how the future of these kids, can be guaranteed under these circumstances. And I just don't know. I wish we know exactly where these kids are located.
We are definitely doing a follow-up on this.
National security, the police, the social welfare,
Can there be an intervention? I mean, can there be some real intervention? Because we know we have things in our books, fine things. So these things shouldn't even be happening.
Honestly, for me, I believe that gradually we are becoming a very, very lawless state. Because this thing indeed shouldn't be happening. Where are the parents?
And this is supposed to be a camp. This is supposed to be a church camping or something of the sort.
Camp.
So if you have witchcraft, who said?
The point is that witchcraft is never one of the crimes under our laws. It is never defined under our laws. So people who use, witchcraft, magic, and uses juju as a basis of these things are completely lawless. They are unknown to our laws. So if you believe it's witchcraft, then whatever means you choose to exorcise them must be legal. Otherwise, you face the full rigors of the law. These are people, what is happening is in violation of not only the Children's Right, but also the Domestic Violence Act. Because once you are in this form of domestic relationship with these kids and you subject them to this kind of treatment, what you have done is you've abused them. And these are punishable by imprisonment.
Now, what happens when parents are in favor of the process that whoever is taking their children through?
When it comes to children, consent to such violations is completely, should I say, invalid. You cannot consent for your child to be subjected to dehumanizing treatment. You cannot consent for your child to be abused. And that is completely unacceptable. I think parents in Ghana must begin to live up to their expectations. Many parents in Ghana are completely lawless and they are completely irresponsible. Because if you are not irresponsible in the first place, you would not even allow your child to be sent to a facility like this that will subject your child to this level of dehumanizing treatment. And I believe that the security forces must begin to arrest those parents and subject them to some, kind of, prosecution.
How often do we see parents or people who carry out these things being punished?
We have our laws. Enforcement has always been a problem. Beautiful laws, but enforcement is nil. But I think that we have gotten to that point where all of us would have to, ensure that the laws are enforced. Otherwise, I'm afraid we will be in a country and we would only pay lip services to all these things, and yet we do nothing about them. We have a beautiful Children's Act, we have a beautiful Domestic Violence Act, wonderful Criminal, and Other Offences Act, and yet people will always get off the hook because we lack the ability to enforce the laws.
One of my, I was surprised when I heard that you're actually going to run for Parliament.
Yeah.
My worry was that you're not going to be following up on some of these cases that you do, some of these cases that you're so passionate about.
Honestly, you see, our passions define us. If you don't have any principle, you would fall to anything. These are my passions, and nothing is going to change those passions. And viewers and people who have followed me keenly, I would invite them into that world of unknown, and they will see it happen live and colored. That even in Parliament, these are things I'm still going to do.
You're still going to go to court and
I'm going to do that and defend the defenseless. Anytime I think there's an abuse which is of a public, of a public interest, I'm going to follow it to the latter. And by God's grace, my law firm, which is the FX Law and Associates, is recruiting other very fine human rights lawyers, and we are training and retraining ourselves into, what I do so that we can do it. Even when I'm busy somewhere, there will always be somebody who will be willing to follow up these cases, because we need some people who will do this. Otherwise, it will be problematic. It will be problematic. But I think that it's a passion, and it's also a calling. It's not everyone that can do these things. Particularly when you do them pro bono, nobody pays you for them. Occasionally, God, looks at what you are doing and opens some doors, that will bring you money. But by and large, most of what you do, nobody invites you in, and nobody pays you for that.
So you take up the cases on your own.
That is it. Once I think it's an abuse, look at Charles Entry's case. Nobody invited me. I knew that it was wrong, and I volunteered myself, and they availed themselves, and we did it for them. You look at Dr. Ali Gabas. It was purely a voluntary work that I did in that matter. Felix Nyaba, It was a voluntary work.
The journalist.
How
is that case? I mean, because you were following through with compensation.
Yes, and today we are in court today also, in the Human Rights Court today, for the 5 million compensation that we sued for. And my colleague Victor Peko is going to be handling that case at the Human Rights Court whilst I deal with the juvenile justice matter this morning. And many more, which are a lot more which are yet to even be in the media. A lot of abuses in this country.
So this particular church, you know, this story that we've just told about these 2 children carrying fire as purification, what happens to the Osofo in the church and Osofo Mami, the people who are leading these children to be doing these things?
Our law do not permit even premises to be used for crimes. So all these churches and the pastors and also for mamis who are involved could be charged, you know, with abetment of crime, and they could also be charged with, you know, they could be charged with conspiracy as well, you know, particularly when there is an evidence that they agreed or they acted together to ensure that these children are abused in the manner in which they were abused.
This happened in Achim Achiase. So by showing you, by telling the story, we're also drawing the attention of the authorities in Achim Achiase that this is happening right under your nose. Somebody has given us the evidence of it. You would think that this is, you know, like a haircut, like a style. He's dyed his hair. But no, it's because of the kind of punishment that's being meted out to them because they're being called witches. And things like that. It's not. Look at the way this particular boy in this picture
very sad. Very looking. Sad. I mean, you can't abuse children like this.
Yeah. So we're drawing your attention to it. You're seeing it on TV now. Take some real action. We want to see something happen. Your vetting is later today?
Yes, later today. It's going to be at 2 o'clock. You know, so I'm looking.
Is your heart beating fast?
Not at all. I mean, though it's the first time I'm doing this national thing and national vetting, but I'm not, because I mean, I've taken time to review the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 94 on the qualifications of a member of parliament. I've taken a look at CI 72 and CI 75.
Why didn't you go independence?
Oh, well, many people have asked these questions. But, you know, I just believe that I would do much better when I'm aligned. I'll have a bigger platform when I'm aligned as well. And you know, there is a greater picture of serving Ghana and you know, I don't know, for want of better words, but I believe I can be a change agent even when I'm aligned. And I believe the NDC provides the kind of platform that I'm looking for this bid.
Okay, let me tell you about some of the fears that people have. If you're not able to change, they would change you. Well, so you won't be the same.
You know, well, you know, I've heard that several times, but you know, Mahatma Gandhi says that be the change you want to see in society. I have decided to be the change I want to see in all spheres of my life, right through primary, JHS, SHS, University of Ghana, and I've always gone against the flow.
But you see, once you're part of the party, it's bigger than you. It's no longer me, but it's the party's interests, you know, going forward.
You know that, you know, we have what we call party interest, and we have what we call the national interest, and we have what must be the ideal situation. And
so you're going with the ideal situation.
My ideal situation, and my interest is Ghana.
Okay.
And I am in to serve Ghana by using the NDC as a platform.
Okay.
And people can watch out for that.
I'll be following you.
Every decision.
I'll be following you like
all
an ass.
the way through. You would see Ghana in every decision.
All right.
And even in this decision today, there is Ghana in there.
Okay. Recently, you are reported as wanting to take on the Nanaba issue.
Well, it's just one of those things in which I will always go against the flow. In my view, whatever happens on social media, about 99% of what happens on social media is a fiction. And it's a media we are on now, and we tell stories.
Do your followers know that, this is just fiction?
Well, not many people know these things. You see, when you go against the flow, not many people understand, you see, but I have a principle that if you follow what you believe, not everybody will believe what you believe, but with time and with persistence, they will tend to believe what you believe. And it has happened in all the cases.
But in this particular case, what's the case?
Well,
if there are rules and
the case is that one, if somebody is a social media freak and there is consistent history of the person being what is being complained about. For example, I've seen Anaba with former President Dr. Nkrumah, and Photoshop with Nkrumah and other state leaders, which shows that there hasn't been any malice, but somebody just feels excited, putting a picture alongside with some group of people, and does that in a particular situation that raises eyebrow. After a while, the person comes back to apologize. For me, that should have settled the issue. That shouldn't have given a basis for any form of action as I saw. And in any
but the
event,
person is not isolated. It's not about her. She's representing a certain brand as well.
Well, the person herself is a brand. As an individual, she's a brand. Before.
But she's attached to a bigger brand.
Well,
she's on a certain platform.
Yes, you are on a platform, but it does not take away your private life. And nobody until now has challenged her social media things that she does. And in any
you
event,
may never know.
Well, even if there is, what must happen? Article 23 of the Constitution says that everything we do administratively, there must be administrative justice. So anytime administratively, due process, human rights.
But what do you know has gone on before
what
this?
I knew was that what I saw was a letter that says that based on what we've heard on social media and based on protection of our brand and whatever, you have been,
So you may not be aware of.
But the letter is a prima facie evidence that due process has been followed. Because due process
That's
requires,
your interpretation.
That is it. A due process requires natural justice.
Has she agreed? Has she agreed that you represent her?
She's a very good friend of mine. We haven't even spoken on this matter.
Okay.
I only shared my view that was widely reported.
But she hasn't gotten in touch with you.
No, we haven't spoken about this.
But you strongly feel there's a case.
I believe that.
But what would you be asking for? Restoration?
Well, there are several remedies if the person instructs you. But in my view, it wouldn't even get to that because I know that the people who are taking this decision also are being advised that you should know. I mean, when the rules are being breached, you should know that.
So they're going to reverse it?
I believe so.
When?
I believe, well, I can't tell, but I believe that definitely it will be reversed.
Okay.
So that we wouldn't have to go on and on and on and on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yeah,
we will talk a lot more on this particular subject in the coming days.
And also about Medina and all my plans for Medina.
Win first.
I will win.
Okay.
Yes.
So when would you, you'll be vetted today?
Yes, after vetting today, most likely our primaries is going to be postponed because of the Hogwicho, which is coming up on the 7th of November. So it may be on the 14th of November, but we don't know. We are yet to confirm all this from our party hierarchy. But I'm very sure that the people of Medina and the NDC Medina, man, they're interested in me. I'm going to win. Yes.
I think. But who is paying that filing fee? Is it yourself?
My lovers and all the people who believe in me. It will surprise you when I decided to do this. The people who say, well, because you're a pro bono lawyer who donated pickups, people who paid filing fees, people who paid my nomination fees, you wouldn't believe it.
Wow.
But the Lord takes care of his own. Once you've dedicated yourself to serve the people will serve you in return.
Okay. Thank you. We'll be following up on these
pleasure.
It's always a pleasure talking to you.
I'm glad I'm here
I love you, except that I can't vote for you.
I know.
All right, stay with us. We've got AM Talk coming up.